Isosceles triangle theorem and the converse. What does it say? It says here, if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite those sides are congruent. Okay, that means if side AB, can you see side AB here in this diagram? It's of length 4.81, is congruent side BC. Side BC is this side here. It's the same length, 4.81. That's the length. So these two sides are congruent. If they are congruent, then the angles opposite to these sides are also congruent, which are angle ACB. ACB is this angle. This is ACB. This is your angle ACB. Can you see? Okay, let me clear all. Is congruent to what? ACB, which is this angle of vertex C, is congruent to angle BAC. You start from B and you make your journey B to A to C. Okay, so your angle is this angle. So these two angles are congruent. That means they have the same size. Okay, this is your theorem. You know it before. This is not new. We're going to cover it again. The converse is if the angles are congruent, then the sides are also congruent. If angle ACB, which is this angle, can you see it's 41 degrees, is congruent to BAC. BAC is this angle, 41 degrees, same size. Then the sides opposite to these angles, which are this side and this side, are congruent. This is a theorem in an isosceles triangle. So if the sides are congruent, the angles are congruent. If the angles are congruent, the sides are congruent. That means it's an equivalency. Let's clear all. Now let's start using it. For example, here, what is the value of x? So you look at the diagram and you can collect the information from this diagram. You have a triangle here and they show you something very special in this triangle. Who can tell me what is special in this triangle?
Here it says that these two lines are congruent because this line on them is the same.
Excellent. This is the information. Well done. These two sides are congruent. Can you see? How do you know they're congruent from the checks? Can you see those red checks? Those red checks. Yes. This means they are congruent. So what you need to do, you say it's given that the triangle is isosceles. So you can say that using the theorem, the other angle is 28 degrees. If this is 28, then this is 28. Now we can find the value of x, which is here in this angle, the third angle, this angle. This angle has the expression with x, 5x plus 9. This is going to help us to find the value of x. So how can we find the value of x? Who can tell us?
Mr. We write 5.
Mr. Mimi. Mr. First we do 5x plus 9 equal 28. Then we solve the equation by minusing 9 on both sides.
Wait, I know. We put 5x plus 9 equal 28. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
Why?
Because, Mr., they are isosceles and they are congruent.
Only two angles are congruent. Look at the theorem. Only two angles are congruent, not three. This one and this one. The two angles that are opposite to the congruent side. This one is opposite to this side. This one is opposite to this side. They didn't tell anything about B. Okay? When we look at our problem, this one has nothing to do with equality because it's not opposite to a congruent side to the other side. Is that clear?
Yes, yes.
So as we know, the three angles of the triangle is 180. And we know two angles are 28. So we will add them and then minus 180. That will give us 124. After
Excellent.
that, we will gonna make some sort of our formula. 5x plus
Excellent.
9, which
Saud,
is
well
given.
done. Saud, you reached the point. That's all. I want everyone to know first that what you said is this: 28 plus 28 plus 5x plus 9 equals 180 degrees. Excellent. Make sure you make a link with the previous lesson. Which theorem is this? Who can tell me which theorem is this? As soon as you set the equation, you are done. Now you forget about triangles, you forget about geometry, you just go back to algebra and you start solving. You are 28 and a 28 and 9. So what do you get? 28 plus 28 plus 9 equals what?
28 plus 28 مستر 56.
Okay.
65.
Plus 9. 65 plus 65 equals 180.
Mr. I got 65.
Yes, 65. Now we subtract 65 from each side and we get 180 minus 65 equals what? What?
115.
115. And now we divide. We're just doing algebra now. Okay, divide by 5, you get your x, and that's it. Same angles as triangle taken because two lines are parallel. يا سعود
أهلا.
يا ابني it's not parallel, they are congruent. سعود تعبك تاني. They are not lines, they are sides.
اسمه هستان.
عادي عادي. تمام, this is perfect. Now solving 3 for x. MashaAllah عليك, you're good at solving x equal 1. Excellent. Some of you are done. Well done, Saud. Sent. سعود روح تجسس على الصفحة اللي بعدها. They put this arc here and they put another arc here like this. This means these two angles are congruent, same side. If this is angle of vertex A and this is angle of vertex B, from these two arcs you say angle A is congruent to angle B. Do you get this?
أيوة.
If you get this, let's go back to our problem. Look at our problem. It's given like this. This is the question. So as soon as you see this arc. Yes? And this arc.
Yes.
This means angle P is given congruent to which angle?
Q.
Q. Now, because this is given, that means this triangle is isosceles. What does it mean? That means this side must be congruent to this side. PR should be congruent to QR. This is from the theorem, the Converse theorem. Can you see this? If two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides opposite those angles are also congruent. Two angles congruent, sides congruent. معناتها إذا هذا 41 وهذا 41 they are congruent, that means this side and this side are also congruent. This is your theorem. They give us two congruent angles. That means two sides are congruent. ولهذا we have to put x plus 20 اللي هو هذا this side equals 8x plus 3 which is this side. They should be what? Equal. لماذا؟ لأن this triangle is isosceles. Okay. And after that, just solve, you get your x. After you get your x, you can look back. They say, what are the lengths of the three sides? So you substitute. You substitute here and here and here. Wherever you see x, you substitute. Can you see? They substitute in the first one, in the second one, in the third one. This is just substitution and calculation. And they get 32, 60, 32. Of course, you get 32 because these two sides are congruent. That means this is 32, this is 32, and this is what? 60. And we are done. These are the sides of the triangle. Tell me, who allowed you to write this side congruent to this side؟ مين يسمح لك؟
Isosceles Triangle Theorem صح أستاذ؟
الconverse isosceles triangle theorem. Is that clear? This theorem is also a simple theorem. If you get familiar with it, it says if a line or line segment bisects the vertex angle, I show you where is this. This line BD, can you see this line BD, all of you? This line is bisecting the angle in the vertex. This is the vertex angle. B is the vertex. So it's bisecting. You know what does mean bisect? Bisect means dividing the angle into two congruent angles. As you can see, they put here notation for congruent angle. Let me zoom. Can you see this angle here, this small arc? This is congruent to this. That means this line is bisecting to two congruent angles. That's all. So if this is happening, if a line or line segment bisects the vertex of an isosceles triangle, make sure this applies only to isosceles triangle, not any triangle, okay? If we put like this triangle, for example, this is not isosceles, and I bisect the angle here, this angle congruent to this angle, we don't get the result. This then does not apply, okay? Then BD is perpendicular to AC, which is the bisector. This BD is perpendicular to the base, AC, this line. It's perpendicular. Also, AD is congruent to DC. AD, which is this part, is congruent to DC, to this part. They're congruent. So we call it perpendicular bisector. That's the word. It's a perpendicular and it's bisector. It bisects everything. It bisects the angle. It bisects the sides. And it is perpendicular. So in an isosceles triangle, the bisector of the vertex angle is a perpendicular bisector of the opposite side. Perpendicular and bisector. You get two congruent sides. That's your theorem. Using simple words. Make sure you get familiar with this theorem, okay? So it is also perpendicular bisector. Can you see the word? Perpendicular bisector of the opposite side. So make sure you read this and it makes sense for you. We're going to apply it. Use perpendicular bisector to solve problems. Now we have a real life problem. Let's read the story. Along the planned route to the site, the truck اللي يحمل هذا الهاوس وهي قطع parts must pass under a bridge that has a clearance height of 17 feet. Now we start our problem. our problem is نيجي للبريدج. البريدج يكون معمول بهذا الشكل. البريدج فوق وهذا التانل تحت البريدج. اوكي، البريدج وين؟ فوق، الجسر فوق، والطريق اللي مر عليه التراك this is the road that the truck is gonna use to go under the bridge. يعني يقولوا هنا pass under a bridge. فهذا البريدج حقنا مش عارفنا وش موجود فوقه، ممكن يكون فوقه قطار، والسيارات والباصز والتراكس يمروا تحت البريدج. اوكي، so the truck must pass under a bridge that has a clearance height of 17 feet. معناتها this height is 17 feet. يعني التراك لما يمر من هنا وهو محمل هذا البيت لازم يكون الهايت does not exceed, does not pass this height. فوق 17 ما يمر، التراك ما يدخل. اوكي، should the tracker plan a different route for delivering the house, explain. الحين انت تركز على التراك. اوكي، مع ارتفاعه مش عارف، كان في شيء نقص في هذا المسألة يعني صراحة، لأن الهاوس هذه يحطوها على التراك. هذا التراك أنا أكون صريح معاكم، يعني لو كنت طالب أزعل. لماذا؟ لأن هذا التراك بهذا الشكل، صح؟ هذا التراك بهذا الشكل، شايفين التراك؟ أعرف أرسم ولا ما أعرف؟ يلا امدحوني شوية. هذا التراك
لا صراحة
ما شاء الله. وهذه الهاوس،
ممتازة الرسم أستاذ.
وهذه الهاوس بريفابريكيتد فوق التراك، شايفينها؟ وهذا البريدج، البريدج هنا، هاو البريدج. اوكي، البريدج هنا. طبعا التراك يمر تحت هذا البريدج. البريدج ارتفاعه 17. ايش رايكم في الصورة؟ وصلت لكم البروبلم ولا ما زلت ما وصلتوا؟
وصلت أستاذ.
وصلت
نعم
أستاذ.
أستاذ.
ايه، الحين احنا لازم الهاوس ارتفاعها ما يتعدى 17. اللي حط هذا المسألة صراحة لو كان امامي اضربه، لانه نسى هذا القطعة. هذا كيف نحسبه؟ الحين يعطينا هذا الارتفاع لازم نحسبه. يلا اعملوا انفسكم ان هذا تراك فيري مودرن يمشي بدون عجلات. اوكي ونحل المسألة.
مكتوب فضائي استاذ، خله شاحنه، خله استاذ مكتوب فضائي بدل شاحنه.
طيب المهم should the tracker يبدو أنا فهمت. دقيقة يبدو أنه أذكى مني. دقيقة، أنا فهمت. التراك المفروض يعطونا صورة للتراك حتى نفهم الموضوع. التراك بهذا الشكل، صح؟ بهذا الشكل، والهاوس is here. The house is here. الحين أنا فهمت، الهاوس is here. يبدو أن الرجل اللي حط المسألة يفكر في التراك بهذا الشكل، بس لازم عجلة هنا حتى ولو صغيرة. أوكي يلا اتفقنا. تعال نشوف كم الارتفاع هذا تاع الهاوس، how high it is، ونقرر نمشي تحت البريدج ولا ناخذ طريق ثاني. because he said أنا قاعد أشرح في القصة أحل الماثماتكس. should the tracker plan a different route for delivering the house. الله لو كنت بدأ لو أخذ different route وما كسر نفسي ولا أعمل ماط ولا هم يحزنون. إيش رأيكم؟ يلا نخبر ونقول
صح أستاذ والله.
يلا ضيع نفسي واعمل حسابات واحسب. أنا لازم نحسب هذا الطول كم. all this how much is it. okay, to calculate this
لا مكتوب 28.
28 هو البيز يا ابني، هذا البيز 28. اوكي، وهذا عندنا 10. هذا عندنا كم؟ 10. احنا مش عارفين هذا الجزء، this part. شايفين هذا البارت اللي فوق؟ this part احنا ما عارفينها ولا عارفينها؟ قولوا.
ما بعرفينها.
ما عارفينها، لكن يبدو أن هذا اللي حط هذا المسألة أعطانا خبر أن هذا 16 وهذا 16، صح ولا لا؟ معناتها this triangle is isosceles. عندنا هذا اللي فوق isosceles، معناتها هذا البايسكتر شايفين الانجل هذا يكون هذا الانجل لانه سيمتريكال. طبعا الهاوس لازمها تكون بهذا الشكل ولا تيجي معوقه. يعني يعطونا هاوس بهذا الشكل، الروف تاعها بهذا الشكل، راح يعطوها لنا بهذا الشكل؟ لا، لازم يعطوها لنا بهذا الشكل سيمتريكال. معظم الهاوسات يكونوا سيمتريكال، خاصه اللي يكونوا فيهم روف بهذا الشكل. فلاحظوا ان الانجل هذا is congruent to this angle and this side is congruent to this side. معناتها we are dealing with isosceles triangle. معناتها this is a bisector and has to be perpendicular حسب الثيورم. صح ولا لا؟
صح.
تمام.
صح أستاذ.
So, if it is perpendicular we can calculate this length. تعرفوا ليش؟ لأن هذا التراينجل عندنا معلومات عليه كثيرة. هذه 28 مثل ما قال واحد فيكم، معناتها هذا 28. صح ولا لا؟ هذا 28 صح؟
صح.
طيب وهذا باي سيكتور معناتها يقسمها على 2. اقسموا لي 28 على 2 كم يصير؟ 14. تمام. مسار عندنا 14 و14. تعال ناخذ هذا التراينجل فقط. راح امسح كل شيء الحين. انا اخذ هذا التراينجل فقط لان هذا التراينجل يسمح لي احسب السايد هذا ممكن احسبه. انا عندي هذا 14 and I have this 16 وعندي هذه right angle, and because it's right angle I can use what we call Pythagoras theorem. تعرفوه Pythagoras theorem؟
سويناه في الفيزيك سويناه بعد.
خلاص راح نستعمله الحين في معناتها a square plus b square equals what؟ c square. تمام. equals c square. بالله يا شباب لو تقرأوا الحل تلقاه يتكلم على الكلام اللي أنا قلته لكم كله. هاي الرسمة أمام صح؟ احنا حابين نحسب الهايت this h، فكاتبين هنا h square plus 14 square equals 16 square using Pythagoras theorem. صح ولا لا؟
صح.
طيب الحين نحسب 16 square minus 14 square يطلع 60 ونعطي له سكوير رو يطلع 7.7. معناتها هذا الهاوس this is 7.7 واللي تحت كم؟ how much is the one below it؟
7.7.
وهذا اللي تحت اللي تحت
ايوه 10.
هذا 10
10 feet.
يا استاذ 17.7.
17.7. هل نمر تحت البريج ولا نروح لطريق ثاني؟
نسير طريق ثاني استاذ.
نسير طريق ثاني.
لأن البريج يقول لك فوق 17 توكل على الله، باي ممنوع المرور. Is this clear about this problem? Okay. يلا لتحت. Question 4.
Question, Mister. Should we always use the Pythagorean theorem to find the height?
How do you use the Pythagorean theorem to find the height?
No. It's just that always we use it, or sometimes time to time we use it.
You only use it when you have right angle.
Okay.
Okay.